This video is the longest and most detailed guide to Warcraft PvP exploits in existence. It has been compiled over many months of play and contains many secrets even top level exploiters are unaware of. If you have any serious interest in PvP, I would bookmark this video because you will need to refer to it repeatedly. Be warned, many of these players are extremely strong. If you use any exploit persistently in high level PvP, you will get reported and you will get banned. The Druid ability, Ursol's Vortex, is arguably the deadliest weapon in the exploiter's arsenal. As you can see here, when the Vortex is placed to the left of the Horde's tunnel exit, any player that passes through the Vortex is immediately pulled back and trapped in the wall. Most of the time they'll remain in place there until they are either killed or use the unstuck function. Note that this is much stronger than simply killing the player. If they can't get out, then the player is lost to the enemy team for the entire duration of the battleground. There are a few other ways to get out. Priest can grip you out. Warrior and Druid bear charge and similar abilities work also, so either move away from the dead zone as quickly as possible or move in close with warriors and druids in bear form. Mages can blink out also, depending on what angle you've trapped them in. This is an absolutely lethal technique that used correctly will win the game by itself. Death Knights can use Death Grip to achieve much the same effect, as I'm demonstrating here. The main difference being that they need to stand directly in front of the dead zone. There are many such dead zones you can use to entrap players, scattered across Azeroth's battlegrounds. Here in Twin Peaks, this location between the wall and these boxes provides another opportunity. Simply stand in front of them, spam the nearest target player, to minus 2 hockey, and Death Grip, and anyone moving in there will be immediately trapped. You can also use the talent Gorefiend's Grasp to trap multiple players, as I'm demonstrating here. This dead zone in the Horde flag room is a little different than that. It is possible to get out by jumping towards the door. However, if you move towards the flag, the imprisoned player will naturally attempt to move towards you and will not be able to escape. Pay very close attention to the exact dead zone location. A few inches out and it simply won't work. It is highly sensitive to initial parameters. These locations were determined only by months of searching and practice. Here in the Mage Tower, in the Eye of the Storm, we have another excellent opportunity for entrapment. And you want to practice putting your vortex behind the bookcase. It's quite a tricky location to get exactly right. Keep your eye on the rogue here as he vanishes into the bookcase. Note that this trick doesn't work with player pets and minions. These can move through solid objects with no limitations. There is a way to trap pets which I'm going to show you later in the video. Just to prove the rogue is actually trapped in there. Strand of the Ancients provides an entrapment opportunity which many experienced players will be familiar with, having at some stage accidentally stepped off the boat and become trapped in the area between the ship and the dock. I'm using Ursol's Vortex again here, though this is actually one of the easiest dead zones to exploit for non-druids or Death Knights. Simply stun as many players in position as possible with your class CC as they move off the ship, and you'll often entrap one or more of them. This final dead zone I'm going to show you is in Alterac Valley, and it's common to both the Dunbalgar South and Stonehearth bottoms. They both have identical interiors. And in addition to using Death Knight Death Grip and an Ursol's Vortex, you can simply mind control somebody in there as a priest, or using an engineering tinker. Just walk them into the location, jump into the location. This exploit requires you to enter Strand of the Ancients as fast as possible, and only works if your team is starting on the ship. You will need some kind of water walking ability, and for most classes the best way to do this is to buy potions of water walking, which are inexpensive off the auction house. Death Knights have an ability called Path of Frost, which I'm going to be using here. Immediately that you enter the BG, jump off the ship and follow the direction the ship is pointed in. You'll find that you get to the beach up to 40 seconds before the battleground actually starts. During this time the preparation buff is active, and the preparation buff makes it impossible for any player to damage any other, and also makes it impossible to die. This means effectively you have up to 40 seconds of invincibility. There are a number of strategies which can be employed here. First, if you just want to do lots of DPS, dot as many targets as possible as the BG is about to start. These dots will not do damage while the preparation buff is active, however they will do so after the countdown. Another strategy is to simply go for a bomb and attempt to plant it. Be aware that while you can't be damaged, you can be stunned or slowed. I'm just running up the beach here, trying to draw as much fire as possible and let my teammates come up the beach without any resistance. That's a really nice touch there, that priest just rescuing me before I did actually finally die. This part of the video concerns elevated areas that are not normally accessible to PvPers. Here in Dranei Ruins, in the Eye of the Storm, this building can be climbed on with a little skill by any player. Jump onto the edge here, line up a jump along the edge, and then just run straight forward and you should be on top. This takes a little practice. It is quite frustrating at first as you'll fall off multiple times, but it is worth it. When you're on top of the building, it is almost impossible to kill you, even for ranged classes, as it is very easy to move out of line of sight. This allows you to hold the base, use ranged attacks or heals with very little comeback, and you can also take the flag up there and hold it indefinitely. This mysterious light-emitting Titan projection device that you can find in Strand of the Ancients has a very interesting property. It can be jumped onto quite easily. It's hollow on the inside, and once inside you cannot be seen from the outside. Your nameplates don't show. The enemy faction will not see your nameplates on the inside. Since it's next to this flag, it makes it very easy to defend the flag. This is something that's really valuable when you're trying to gear up, because it gives you a meaningful way to help your team to really change the balance of the battle, which isn't dependent on gear and doing great DPS. If you've actually got a pet or a minion, if you're one of those classes, then you can use that pet to defend the flag, and the player you're attacking will have no idea you're there. All the excitement about the new Demon Hunter class in the upcoming expansion Legion and their new double jump ability ignores the fact that double jump already exists in the game and can be used by demonology warlocks. It works like this: take on demonic form, jump, jump again, and use a goblin glider. This will get you onto virtually every building here in Alterac Valley, like this bunker. This trick is inspired by a famous warlock by the name of Kobrak, who discovered an amazing glitch in Strand of the Ancients with his own class. Turns out that this can also be used by monks, but you might want to have a look at this even if you don't play a monk, because it's one of the most amazing ritual glitches in the game. When attacking in the first round, go to your ship at the end and use your Transcendence ability. When it comes to round 2, go back to the area where the ship was. The ship has now vanished, of course. Or has it? Note that your Transcendence ability is still active. If you use Transcendence Transfer, it will transport you back to your ship in the first round. You are now completely invisible to other players. No one else can see this. And look what happens when the horde ship comes in. It's insane. Because no one knows you're there, you can now heal or use ranged attacks without any retaliation.
It's too far away.
Now I'm going to show you probably the hardest challenge in the whole of the World of Warcraft. It's a challenge many would consider completely impossible, which is to queue for a random battleground, get Isle of Conquest, and actually lead the Horde to victory. This series of pipes here that you can jump on with Hunter Disengage allows you an excellent ambush opportunity for the glaives, which are so critical to this battleground. Don't have to be a hunter or have a special leap ability to get onto the pipes. Any class can do it. You will need, however, a goblin glider, which, as I think I mentioned before, can be purchased very cheaply off the auction house in bulk. Just get onto the refinery here. Glide down. And now you're basically over the pipes. Comes to attacking the glaives, you'll find that they go down very easily. If you have relatively decent PvP gear, which you'll find that you get the glaives pretty much every single time.
I'm out of range.
Unless you make a really stupid error or something. And that will give you several extra minutes to defend. Now I'm going to show you a way to defend the Horde base and stop the Alliance from capping the graveyard. This sequence of ingenious jumps was originally developed by a guy called Jacob Skipper, who is one of the most talented PvP exploiters around. His channel is sadly defunct, but I'll link to it below. This method was originally designed as an early start technique, which no longer works as you just get ported back to the start point if you attempt to use it before the battleground starts. However, it also allows you to get on top of the Horde base and defend the Horde flag from range, whilst allowing you to get out of line of sight. With a little practice, you can defend the flag from virtually any number of players.
I need to get closer. It's too far away. I'm out of range. It's too far away. I'm out of range. I need to get closer.
In the last resort, with the Alliance bearing down on the boss, you can jump on top of the throne here, and that will allow you some protection from melee attacks in particular. It's probably not going to enable you to last very much longer than normal, but it may just swing the balance in the Horde's favour in an exceptionally tight contest. Now, very occasionally you may have seen players somehow standing on flags in Arathi Basin and Battle Vulcanus, and you may have wondered how you do that. And in fact, there's a variety of methods to achieve that effect. First one is stand on the edge here in exactly this location. Use your goblin glider. And if you stand at the same point each time, the rate of the descent will be the same each time. So you just have to maneuver in one plane successfully. You land on the flag each time with a little practice. And here we're at the mines in Arathi Basin. Just going to use slowfall, or any similar ability. Just jump off the edge there. Again, if you jump from the same initial starting point each time, you'll always land on top of the flag. Azeroth's physics are a lot more simple than actual physics, fortunately. Demonology warlocks leap ability can leap onto the stables here, and this is possibly the most accessible method because it's usable by all classes. Simply mount up on a large mount, something like a tundra mammoth. Any large mount will do, and then when you dismount you should be on the edge of the flag, jump up a few times and you should be on top of the flag. And now I'm going to show you how we put all this together in practice. Now, I'm playing a warlock here, a Destro warlock, and I put down a demonic circle on top of the flag, and I'm actually on another elevated area on top of this tree stump. There's a reason for that, and that's mainly because you don't want to get death grips off the top of the flag, and then you're down in melee range. You want to have an alternative location to go to. So you don't necessarily want to stay on top of the flag if you've got an alternative, if you've got some means of getting back onto it quickly. Now you can see the advantage of being on the flag here. Basically I'm more or less free casting chaos bolts, and I'm able to get multiple chaos bolts off at once with havoc. Maybe if you're a genius warlock or something, you find this sort of thing quite easily. Normally I find that it's very difficult to free cast because I'm continuously getting interrupted. And you can see, despite the significant horde presence here, they're not really making any inroads. I can pretty much control the situation. Deepwind Gorge, presumably because it was designed much later than the other battlegrounds, has some kind of anti-flag jumping mechanism. However, it scarcely matters, at least when defending the pandaren mine here, as there is an extremely handy rock just to the left of the flag which can serve the same function as flag jumping. You can get onto the rock with a mount by climbing the side of this slope and then running onto it. Don't jump, just fall flat. As with the other similar locations, you can't be attacked by melee, though melee can get close enough that they often try and fail, which is a distinct advantage. An additional strategy which warlocks can use is to put down a gate to the entrance to the mine itself, so they can access the health bar instantly in the event that rage classes do too much damage to them. Worth mentioning, it is almost impossible to kill a healer standing in this position.
It's too far away.
The following exploit is designed for use by demonology warlocks with some kind of stamina build, and also for demon hunters in the coming expansion. If you go to this location here, and you can use your demonic leap, just demonic leap and forward, and get onto this invisible platform here. Demon Hunters will almost certainly be able to do the same thing with double jump. And Demon Hunters will have a tank spec, so this will be a really cool location to take the flag as a tank Demon Hunter. And this location provides you with some protection from line of sight, and you're obviously well out of melee range. And Demonology Warlocks can very quickly port back inside. The next exploit should only be performed by people who really like a challenge. It's one of the hardest terrain exploits in the game to perform. It should probably only be attempted by a hunter, though it's theoretically possible with a Demonology Warlock, and will probably be possible with a Demon Hunter when those become available for Legion. You want to go to the Pandaren mine here in Deepwind Gorge, jump on the side of this hill, and then try to jump on top of this crane. Now, this requires extreme micromanagement. I'm trying to line up my hunter exactly. You can tell how difficult this is by the amount of preparation and line-up time involved. And you can see immediately the advantage of being up here on this crane. I can hardly be seen from below, and I can totally dominate the whole area around the flag. The only real danger to your character when they're up here is to get death gripped by a death knight, or to get knocked off by knockback. But most players aren't capable of using knockback at that distance very accurately.
It's too far away.
Now, you can make your character completely invisible up here, and indeed with all terrain exploits, by using the Shard of Archstone item. This is just in randoms, you can't use it in RBG. You can see the statue down there below the crane. And my character itself, the Shard of Archstone, doesn't work very well with the terrain glitches. And I'm now completely invisible. I can still, however, control my pet. I can't attack while I'm invisible. That will bring me out of invisibility. But my pet can still attack. And you can basically defend the flag more or less indefinitely using this trick. They use Kill Command if you're a Beastmaster. That counts as a hunter ability, not a pet ability. Players are psychologically conditioned not to attack pets, and even if they do kill it, you can resurrect it with Heart of the Phoenix if the pet has that ability. Just going to show you one more way to get on the flag with your hunter in Arathi Basin. We can use the Shard of Archstone trick to become invisible while standing on a flag again. Can use the Shard of Archstone trick with any terrain exploit in a random battleground. And again, it's very easy to defend the flag because no one knows you there. The only real danger is if AoE somehow hits you. That will bring you out of the invisible state. So you can still use the move to command with your pet. Use the full range of pet abilities. And I'm just going to show you one more hunter trick in Arathi Basin. This is very similar to the Deepwind Gorge exploits. There's another handily placed crane that can just be reached with glyphed Disengage. This would be a great location to protect the flag with. Unfortunately, the range on a normal hunter is slightly less than the flag. So technically all the enemy has to do is go around the other side to cap it. The exception would be for marksmanship hunters. They can really make this work. Now I'm just going to show you a very, very old exploit. I don't know who came up with this first. It was probably someone back in vanilla or something. If we jump on this log here and jump on those logs hanging from the string there, I'm going to show you a way to get on the roof of the lumber mill. For some reason all the buildings in Arathi Basin will not allow you to jump on them. They've all got very, very well protected invisible walls around them. For some weird reason the lumber mill doesn't. Now when we jump on this log here, we're going to jump on the string holding it up, and that works kind of like a step ladder, just going up and forward, up and forward. It's the classic exploration technique. Actually, I want to be careful here to not to arouse the wrath of the exploration community. Should point out for any explorers watching, there's a hell of a lot in this video that I cut and edited out because it might harm the exploration community. I do pay attention to what you guys are up to, and I try not to do anything which would expose your methods, just in case you thought I just didn't give a toss. And now we're on the lumber mill. As you can see, this is an excellent, excellent location to protect the flag. Very old trick, but still very powerful and very effective. And then we come to trolling, and these exploits are completely pointless but enormous fun.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Jump off that spire, you can get really high up onto this invisible wall hanging above the horde starting area gates. And if you're a pathetic attention seeker like myself, you can have enormous fun before the battle actually starts. And it's quite enough of that. There is actually use for this exploit in that it will allow you a bit of a head start, because you can jump off of the goblin glider and get ahead of everybody else. Most importantly, you win the race to the lumber mill, which is of course the most important thing to do in the world of Warcraft. Slow losers. Here in the starting area in Warsong Gulch, in the horde area, there are invisible walls around either side of the exit on the right, and using your swapblaster you can trap people in the area next to the exit. And you can see this Tauren is completely stuck. As I said, there is no point to these exploits at all. They are a complete waste of time. Except for all petty sadists like myself who enjoy tormenting their fellow players and ruining team spirit and morale. This other blood elf obviously finds this terribly amusing, so guess who's going in the other side of the wall? not so funny now, is it, mate? Just in case you're thinking I'm a complete bastard, this does wear off as soon as the battleground action starts. It doesn't harm the player in any way. Oh, I love that noise. Now we're in the waterworks, and I'm going to show you how to jump on the building to the left of the flag. Well, the left of the flag from the Alliance starting area. Just climb on that rock and use the glyph of Disengage. This is an old and very powerful terrain exploit. It's particularly powerful because you can get out of line of sight very quickly, in addition to being completely unattackable by melee. Notice my crane's stuck up here with me. It's always a good idea to leave your crane behind. Use the move to command to make it stay on the ground when you jump onto an area which is normally inaccessible. And now we're at the waterworks, and we can do much the same with the building to the left of the waterworks. To the left of the waterworks flag. And now we're in Dalaran Arena. Now there's not much concerning the arena in this video, mainly because it's kind of pointless because anything that works really well in the arena tends to get fixed by lightning. I'm just going to show you one thing, which is how to jump onto this invisible wall there. It's basically to the left of the pipe you jump out of. Go to the left and then jump backwards, and then you'll be on this invisible wall. And you can go and you can disengage again and get further out of range. If you're up against two classes that can't do significant DPS from range, you'll find it's completely impossible for them to kill you. Now we're in Ashran. Ashran is very difficult to find exploits in for completely opposite reasons that you can't find them in arena, and that is simply that anything goes pretty much in Ashran. So it's difficult to find an exploit when there aren't any rules anyway. However, this trick does work pretty well, and it's designed for Death Knights. You notice where I stuck my ghoul there? I'm using gorefiend grasp on the ghoul, and that pulls players down into the area below the bridge. It can really break up an attack. Now this exploit is so old it was probably going on in vanilla alpha. Ever since Warsong Gulch was introduced, players have been finding funky ways to get around the back of the Alliance base. There's a huge area there which, if you can exploit your way into it, you can take the flag back there, and any game where deadlock wins you the game can be won by taking the flag back there, so players tend to do it all the time. And Blizzard have made various half-assed attempts to stop it over the years, but none of them have been terribly successful. The way I get back here is just jump on this table, turn around and use glyph of Disengage. Any kind of special leap will get you back there. What I wasn't aware of when I was making this video is that there's a way to do it for all classes, and it's on a guy called Logan Heath's channel. He does content very similar to mine. I urge you to go and check that out if you want to try this. I would be aware that with Warsong Gulch, if you go into this forbidden area, Blizzard apparently have some kind of automated detection system to tell when you're in a forbidden area now. And that, I believe, led to one of the suspensions on my account recently. So if you're going to try this out, then be extremely careful, obviously. This is another arena exploit, and this time I play my rogue. And as I'm exiting the entrance here, I'm going to put down my stackable stack. That's a novelty item you can get from the Hemet Nessingway camp in Pandaren. And you can see its use to a rogue immediately. You can Shadowstep to the stackable stack, and you can get back into the starting zone. There was a very powerful exploit that monks were using, I believe, some months back, and warlocks, where they would use their transference or demonic circle abilities to get back into this area. And though you do get shoved out by this knockback after a few seconds, it does give you long enough to put down some healing in a tight match, and does give you a significant advantage. So I can easily escape from this melee situation. Another item that can be used in arena and indeed in battlegrounds generally is Image of Archmage Vargoth.
Go with honor, friend.
And this has amazing utility in PvP.
I can't do that.
In this situation, you can see I can attack from above and then immediately shadow step back to the Image of Archmage Vargoth. Now I'm just going to show you an old but still powerful and still working exploit I posted sometime last year. This is in Deepwind Gorge again. Now the entrance to the mines in Deepwind Gorge have teleport fields, so you can't walk into them without getting ported out. But you can send your Eye of Kilrock in there and put down a demonic circle, and that will bypass the teleport field. And what this means is that you can port back there anytime you're under attack, and you're effectively invincible. As you can see, I'm under attack here, and I just vanished to the back of the mine. Just enter the teleport field when you want to come out. That wasn't advantageous enough. Of course, there's the health buff right next to you. Warlocks have got great self-healing anyway, actually.
I need a target.
And what I did know when I made that video was that rogues can actually do the same thing. If they got an item they can project to the back of the cave, and they have the Shadowstep talent, they can do exactly the same thing as warlocks. Now, most players know that a Typhoon and other similar knockback abilities can be used to push people off the edge of cliffs in Arathi Basin, Lumber Mill, or the Storm Flag area. But what I've rarely seen employed is Ursol's Vortex to do exactly the same thing. And I noticed a comment at Wowhead which said that this wasn't in fact possible. And it is. All you've got to do is put the Vortex in an area where it's basically a point of no return, somewhere where you step and you'll immediately fall down whatever you do afterwards. It's just a question of luring somebody into the relevant zone and luring them out again. Here's a simple trick to use against players with powerful pets or minions. Aggro them when standing on an inaccessible location, and you'll find that they can't move until their master moves way out of range, or issues some command which causes them to teleport. See the bear stuck on the stump of the tree there?
I need to get closer.
One way I found of extracting a flag carrier from his healer in Twin Peaks is to stand in this position there at the top of the Alliance Fortress and pull them upwards. And you find that they either throw themselves back off again immediately, or fight you for a bit and then realise that not many people are going to duel with a Death Knight 1-on-1. Okay, so that's it. Finally done. The longest video I've ever done by some distance. I was going to issue a long list of thanks to people who inspired me in this video, but it's not the fucking Oscars, so sod that. The list is way too long anyway, and you guys know who you are. I will just say a bit about the exploit community. I fucking love you guys. As far as most people outside the community are concerned, we are all scum, whereas I found you to be a community of maverick geniuses, mostly with good hearts, with the strength not to conform. So there's the video. Hope you have fun with it, and remember to subscribe or you're going to miss out in future. This has been Archveldor.